Right now on News 3 this morning, Saturday football returns to Camp Randall for the first Saturday game of the season. What Coach Chris expects as the Badgers and New Mexico, both coming off hot starts, take the field. Plus, players and their families in Reedsburg are waking up after an emotional evening under the Friday night lights, playing for the first time after helping their community clean up from those devastating floods. And riders in a summer-long cross-country motorcycle tour will cross their finish line today as Ironman participants prepare for their own big race. Your news starts right now.
This is News 3 This Morning, Saturday.
Good morning and welcome to News 3 This Morning, Saturday. It's September 8th. I'm Keely Arthur in with meteorologist Chris Reese. Good morning.
Good morning, Keely.
And starting to feel a little bit more like fall.
It is out there. It's a little cool. It's a little crisp, if you will. Tomorrow morning could be a little bit cooler with temperatures reaching the 40s. But right now, we'll see our temperatures hanging out into the 50s. 55 degrees is where we stand right now with some of those clear skies out there. A lot of folks do have their temperatures into the 40s and 50s this morning. Now we can zoom out and all across the upper Midwest. That is the theme. There are some low 60s as you get towards southern or northern Illinois. That's where we find more cloud cover. They've got a lot more rain going on for them as the remnant of Gordon track through the Ohio Valley. That'll bring some very, very heavy rainfall just hours to our south, so we are counting our luck there, but we'll keep that sunshine around with some cloud cover going through the afternoon. We'll top out right around 69 degrees for your high. Now, in terms of traffic, you already know it's a Saturday morning at 5 o'clock. It's smooth out there. There are no major issues or delays, not here in Madison or across Dane County. Keely.
All right, Chris, thanks so much. Well, we're just hours away from kickoff, and it's an early one for the Badgers with an 11 a.m. start against New Mexico at Camp Randall. It's the first meeting ever between the two teams who are coming off resounding first week victories. Number 5, Wisconsin is a massive favorite, especially now that Xander Newville and Isaiah Loudermilk are back from injury. But how much time will they actually spend on the field? Well, there's no set snap count or anything like that, according to Coach Paul Christ. It's more of a let's see how this goes situation.
I've never been one, whether it's how many carries does a back get or, how many plays does this guy get. I think you got to be smart. You got to understand that, where they're at and where they're coming from. And yet, I think there is something to. We'd never put a guy out there that could damage it more, so there's nothing like that.
The recent flooding didn't stop area high school teams from taking the field last night. After the community suffered a week's worth of setbacks, the Reedsburg football team was back. School was canceled for the Reedsburg School District all week. Instead of practicing, players spent time filling sandbags. Football player Jonathan Zobel says it was never a question of whether he and his teammates would help out.
Coach put out a message, and sometimes the players would even come before that. They had a sand out in the parking lot at the high school, so I think we had fun doing that, doing sandbagging, hauling it to people that need it, and just helping out the community.
The Beavers went on to beat the Sauk Prairie Eagles last night 9-7. While the rain has stopped for the time being, flooding remains a major concern for many communities across the state. In Madison, Mayor Paul Soglin says flooding and high lake levels could be an ongoing problem into the spring of next year. Soglin says area lakes are still several inches above the 100-year flood level and could remain that way for weeks. If you have sandbags protecting your property, it's recommended you keep them in place. And heading into the weekend, the city of Madison has closed boat launches at 3 separate locations. Those are Olbrich Park, Law Park, and Olin Park. The launches will remain closed until further notice. Free overnight parking in Madison's city-owned parking garages has been extended through next Friday. While flood emergency parking is in effect, there is no fee to park in cashiered sections of the garages from 9 p.m. until 7 a.m. Vehicles parked before or after that time will be charged the hourly rate. Well, new information, police say they have found a suspect in custody connected to Thursday's shooting on Madison's west side at the Crossings apartment complex at Elver Park. Police tell us the suspect and victim got into an argument which led to the shooting. Officials are not releasing the name of the suspect right now, but the case is being investigated as an attempted homicide. The victim, a 19-year-old, was shot in the leg and is suffering non-life-threatening injuries. Some shocking video from northeastern Wisconsin. State Patrol dashcam video capturing a crash along Interstate 41 in Kakuna Tuesday night. According to a release, a trooper stopped a Toyota Corolla for a defective headlight. Moments after the trooper returned to his cruiser, a southbound car crashed into the fog line, just missing the trooper's vehicle and hitting the Toyota. The driver of the Corolla was taken to a hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. The driver of the Pontiac was not seriously injured but facing several charges. Well, like earlier this week, the 115th Fighter Wing of Wisconsin's Air National Guard says it will once again be conducting overnight training near Truax Field. According to the release, the Guard will conduct a late-night launch tonight into tomorrow morning. Oh, we have a first alert traffic note for your interstate drive this weekend. As a result of all that flooding, you can expect to see major delays, maybe even some closures along I-90-94 outside Portage both today and tomorrow. The stretch of interstate was closed for more than 12 hours Thursday. The National Guard is building a nearly mile-long wall of sandbags there where water is expected to crest and possibly spill onto the low-lying stretch of interstate. Crews say 50,000 sandbags were dedicated to that area alone. Ironman officials continue to monitor the water quality as athletes from around the world prepare to swim 2 miles in Lake Monona tomorrow. The bike routes in and out of Madison have already been slightly altered to work around the flooding issues. The event means a number of road closures and detours to work around this weekend. The roads outlined here in black on this map will be closed from noon until midnight tomorrow. The blue and red lines are routes you can take around those closures that run from the Capitol Square west all the way to Campus Drive off University Avenue. Metro Transit will also be detoured in some areas. You can find that information and a copy of the map on the city's website. A 110-day cross-country motorcycle tour is crossing their finish line this weekend. The Patriots Tour started in Beaver Dam back in May, and since then riders have carried the American flag through all 48 continental states. It's all to raise money for wounded veterans and their families. Today, 500 riders will complete their final flag exchange and parade through downtown Beaver Dam at noon. After that, they'll have a homecoming celebration at Swan Park. The Nations of Patriots has raised about $200,000 so far. An event aimed at helping the homeless in Rock County is moving locations this year to accommodate all the people who want to participate. Tom Hathaway, known as Tom the Awesome Mailman, has hosted the event in his backyard for 5 years now. The Janesville Gazette reports he got more interest by talking to people along his mail route. This year, it's up to 200 people, too many to have crammed into his backyard. It will now be at the Rock County 4-H Fairgrounds in Janesville. That's from noon and till 7. Tom told the paper he raised about $26,000 for area shelters and nonprofits that help the homeless. If you're operating on a vegan diet and feel a little left out by Madison's many food festivals, this one is for you. Madison College is hosting Vegan Fest this weekend. It's expected to attract around 3,000 visitors with vegan foods, speakers, and cooking demos. They'll have everything from sandwiches and sweets to tacos and pizza. That's today from 10 to 5. We'll have a preview of the event and even more events happening this weekend coming up in our second half hour during the weekend 6:08. Well, cooler temperatures and no rain in the forecast for this event-filled weekend in Madison. You're looking live over the Capitol this Saturday morning. Chris has your farmers market forecast and a preview of what you can expect for tomorrow's Ironman event next right here on News 3 This Morning, Saturday. And there are several shows and movies you should find time for this weekend. Will's in next with 3 things to watch. That's just ahead on News 3 This Morning.
Good Saturday morning. It is dry, cool, and fall-like out here for the first true full weekend of September that we have going on here. But here's the deal. Temperatures are going to remain below average for the next couple of days. 69 degrees is our forecast high. That's 6 degrees below where we should be for this time of the year. The low starting off 4 degrees. Now, we are at 55 right now with some clear skies out there, though some of you are indicating some spots of cloud cover showing up. That's mainly across the southern half of the area, closer to where we have rain over central and northern Illinois. That is the remnants of Gordon working through the Ohio Valley, bringing a very heavy rainmaker for them. Thankfully, we will begin to miss out on that as that region of low pressure tracks south of us. High pressure to our north and east is going to keep that dry and cool air around as we go through the rest of the weekend as well. Eventually, that high pressure will move that cool air away to the north and east, and we'll see temperatures begin to warm up just a little bit. But as we go through the rest of today, expect temperatures to reach the mid and upper 60s by lunchtime. We'll even top out in the upper 60s for those highs today. Some of you will see the 70-degree mark. By tomorrow morning, we could see lows in the upper 40s. It'll be the first time in a while that we've actually seen that around here. Now, today is a big football day. The Badger game going on against New Mexico. Kickoff temperatures will be in the upper 60s. By the fifth quarter, they'll be in the upper 60s as well. So a light jacket might be needed, but ultimately it will be a fairly comfortable day. Now, while we enjoy the sunshine, our friends on the East Coast are bracing for the potential impact of a major hurricane that could be Category 3 or 4. By the time that makes landfall next week, we are all going to be keeping a very close eye on Florence and its impacts on the United States. One of the things to watch for is rapid intensification. Since 1980 and into recent years, we have seen rapid intensifying hurricanes happening more and more frequently. So that will be something to at least be mindful of and keep an eye on. Today, we'll see those temperatures in the upper 60s and low 70s for highs. By tonight, we'll cool down to the upper 40s for a lot of us. Then as we go through the rest of the next 10 days, we'll see our temperatures gradually warming up through the upper 70s and eventually the low 80s for those highs. But there's going to be plenty of sunshine to go along with that today, tomorrow, and through the next week and beyond.
All right, thanks, Chris. Well, in entertainment news, Frank Underwood is officially dead. Netflix released the trailer for season 6 of House of Cards. Fans have been waiting to see Underwood's fate after star Kevin Spacey was fired amid sexual harassment allegations last year. The final season becomes available November 2nd. The new animated film, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, will swing into New York Comic-Con next month. There are multiple spider people in alternate dimensions of the Spider-Verse, including the main character voiced by Shamik Moore. A washed-up Peter Parker mentors the young superhero. That movie opens in December. Well, with temperatures only in the low 70s and the Labor Day weekend behind us, it's starting to feel like fall. Our Will Loper has some picks for a perfect afternoon indoors in this weekend's 3 Things to Watch.
A television program for children made its unauspicious debut on station WQED in Pittsburgh. Its host, Fred Rogers.
New on home video this week is Won't You Be My Neighbor?
You take all of the elements that make good television and do the exact opposite. You have Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. Low production values, simple set, unlikely star. Yet, it worked.
The film explores the life and career of Mr. Rogers.
He was radical. I know everyone says that, but he was radical.
They didn't want black people to come and swim in their swimming pools. My being on the program was a statement for Fred.
Won't You Be My Neighbor is available to rent or buy everywhere now.
Love is at the root of everything. All learning, all relationships, love or the lack of it.
Can't blame me, try to shame me.
Now available on digital HD is Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom.
Do you remember the first time you saw a dinosaur?
Ain't blue.
We don't really believe it. It's like a miracle.
Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard return to the island of dinosaurs to save them before it all blows up.
Blue, come with me. You know you can't stay here. Jurassic World, The Island. You're all right. Easy, girl. All of that is in the past.
Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom is available on all digital platforms now.
So you want to go to Stanford?
Yes, I almost got a perfect score on my SATs.
You're a good student. But Sierra, what's your cell?
Excuse me?
Sierra Burgess is.
Now streaming on Netflix is the movie Sierra Burgess is a Loser.
I met a guy. We texted. He definitely thinks that I'm someone else.
A girl in high school begins texting a guy, only to find out he thinks she's someone else.
Oh my God.
Oh, like Veronica?
That's what I have to live up to? Of all the phone numbers in the world, he texted mine.
You need to tell him the truth.
They're my words. He's falling for me.
Would you want to go on a date with me?
Yeah. I know you've been failing all your classes, so I think we can help each other. But I do need a favor.
Sierra Burgess is a Loser is available to stream on Netflix now.
Do you think you could like me?
You are exactly my type. You know, the hardest part is allowing yourself to be vulnerable.
Happy watching. Those are the 3 things you need to watch. And this is Will Loper for News 3 This Morning, Saturday.
Well, hunting and your heart, the potentially dangerous connection between the two. With hunting season just weeks away, why doctors say they're seeing more people coming in with chest pains and symptoms of heart attacks. That story next on News 3 This Morning, Saturday.
Good Saturday morning. Temperatures are in the mid-50s as you wake up. It's cool as well with a little bit of a briskness to the air. We'll get the sun up here as we go through about the next hour or so. We're not worried about any rainfall here in Madison. Most of the rain will be to our south, but nonetheless, that could bring some cloud cover our way into the afternoon. So we will see a mix of the sun and the cloud cover today. Temperatures will reach 65 by 11 o'clock, topping out into the upper 60s and low 70s for highs this afternoon. Then as we go through tomorrow morning, we'll start out in the upper 40s. Keely.
All right, thanks, Chris. Well, the Henry Violet Zoo says it's planning to bring a new mystery animal to the zoo, and they're asking for the community's help. The zoo's donation website says it's asking the community to help meet their $30,000 goals so the animal can come in time for the holidays. To keep it a little fun, the zoo said it will be providing weekly hints to what kind of animal it is. Well, we're just weeks away from deer season, and this morning doctors have a warning for those hunters getting prepared. There's a lot of manual labor involved in getting the deer stand ready. Doctors say as a result, they see new patients come in this time of year with chest pains and even heart attacks. Michael Aaron has the story.
I love to hunt.
Whether it's dove, duck, or deer,
Should be a real good season for deer.
Ivan Wilson loves to hunt it.
A lot of hunters. There's a lot of hunters out. Yeah, it's a favorite pastime.
Bow season for deer starts September 22nd.
We put out different kinds of food blocks.
Which means Wilson is out for hours at a time right now to get his land near Clinton prepared.
But we also had to get out and kind of trim the trees, take the chainsaw and the tree trimmer and trim some shooting lanes and a place to hunt so we can see and make good shots.
It's a lot of work Wilson is used to, but doctors at Arkansas Heart Hospital say it can become dangerous for those who aren't as active.
A lot of patients are living a pretty inactive lifestyle, and then, the weather's getting nice. Patients are starting to go out and exert themselves, do things like putting up deer stands, things like that puts a lot more stress on their body than they're used to.
Dr. Peyton Card says the hospital sees some of those people coming in with heart attacks and other cardiac symptoms.
If you're having any symptoms like chest pain, new shortness of breath, lightheadedness, feeling palpitations, anything like that, don't write it off as, nothing or reflux or anything like that. Go get it checked out.
Because he says getting the kill is not worth losing your own life.
We try to be as safe as possible. I encourage you, if you're not a hunter, to get out and enjoy the outdoors.
Dr. Card suggests going into the woods in groups. He also says if you're a member of a camp, it's a good idea to have several members get CPR certified. Well, there's much more ahead on News 3 this morning, Saturday. Next, we're running through the morning's top stories, including the road closures you should know about due to the ongoing flooding, plus one of the city's biggest athletic events of the year. And just like the students across the area, we're going back to school in this month's Tastemaker segment, the newly renovated coffee shop that'll make you feel like a student again. Stay with us right here on News 3 this morning, Saturday. We're just a day away from the start of a brand new Packers season, and the festivities are already starting, where you can catch some live music, tailgating, and a whole lot of fun all weekend long.
This is News 3 This Morning, Saturday.
Good morning and welcome to News 3 This Morning, Saturday. It's September 8th. I'm Keely Arthur. We'll get a check on the weather with Chris in just a second, but first, let's get you caught up on today's headlines. Well, while the rain has stopped for the time being, flooding remains a major concern for many communities across the state. In Madison, Mayor Paul Soglin says flooding and high lake levels could be an ongoing problem into the spring of next year. Soglin says area lakes are still several inches above the 100-year flood level and could remain that way for weeks. If you have sandbags protecting your property, it's recommended you keep them in place. Well, speaking of sandbags, you can expect to see major delays, maybe even some closures along I-90-94 outside Portage both today and tomorrow. The National Guard is building a nearly mile-long wall of sandbags there, where water is expected to crest and possibly spill onto the low-lying stretch of interstate. Crews say 50,000 sandbags will be dedicated to that area alone. Ironman officials continue to monitor the water quality as athletes from around the world prepare to swim 2 miles in Lake Monona tomorrow. The bike routes in and out of Madison have already been slightly altered to work around the flooding issues. The event means a number of road closures and detours to work around this weekend. The roads outlined here in black on this map will be closed from noon until midnight tomorrow. The blue and red lines are routes you can take around those closures that run from the Capitol Square west all the way to Campus Drive off University Avenue. And a 110-day cross-country motorcycle tour is crossing the finish line this weekend. The Patriot Tour started in Beaver Dam back in May, and since then riders have carried the American flag through all 48 continental states. It's all to raise money for wounded veterans and their families. Today, 500 riders will compete their final flag exchange and parade through downtown Beaver Dam at noon. After that, they'll have a homecoming celebration at Swan Park. The Nation of Patriots has raised about $200,000 so far. And here's your first alert forecast. Hi, Chris.
Good morning, Keely. We're waking up to a cool start out there. Temperatures are into the mid-50s. Those dew points right around 50, so the air has that dry and fall-like feel to it. Temperatures across the state are all in the low 50s. Some upper 40s are showing up, especially right around Black River Falls. They're sitting at 49 degrees this morning. Now, we'll zoom out and show you all of the upper Midwest, and you see the same thing, 40s and 50s. Now, this blue across southern Canada, that is where temperatures are in the 30s, and just days ago that made it all the way as far south as northern Minnesota. So some of that cooler air was on the move, but we are not going to get that cold yet. We'll see some cloud cover across southern Wisconsin today. That is with the rainfall that's across northern and central Illinois as the remnants of Gordon tracked through the Ohio Valley. We are not concerned with the rain for us. Instead, expect a mix of sun and clouds. Temperatures reaching 69 for those highs today and cooling back off through the mid-60s as we go into the afternoon and evening. Keely.
All right, thank you, Chris. Football is back, and tomorrow night, thousands of fans will be in Titletown for the 7:20 kickoff against the Bears. But the area around Lambeau Field will be busy all weekend long, well before the Packers kick off their season. It's celebration weekend outside of Lambeau that includes a concert tonight featuring the Steve Miller Band. There'll be a pre-concert tailgate starting at 4:30 before the music starts at 7:30 outside the Oneida Nation Gate at Lambeau. Just like everyone else this week, our tastemaker is going back to school. Madison Magazine's Andrea Baling checked out the newly renovated school grounds coffee house in Cottage Grove for this month's Tastemaker segment.
Drove by it for 15 years, watched it, and then I saw that it was kind of in a dilapidated state. I made a few inquiries about it and made a proposal to open up an art gallery, of all things. 2.5 years later, we started School Grounds Coffee House, and that was the fall of 2012.
I see. Yeah, I did want to talk about that because this is an interesting space where it's part art gallery, part coffee house.
The original idea, because I'm a wood artist and a furniture designer by training, was to put my stuff in here and invite other artists to put their stuff in here and run it as just a sole art gallery function. And over Thanksgiving dinner, I made a joke with my dad, and I said, when are you going to come to my gallery? He said, well, I can't come to a gallery unless I can get something to eat.
Oh.
And so I said, well, we'll put a cafe in. And so what started as a joke turned into reality.
Oh, how funny. And I want to talk about the cafe part of this as well. We've got some items from your case here. Can you tell me what's on the table here?
Yep, we have some classic items from our bakery case. I should tell you this, that my big sister is the bakery director here. She's the pastry chef. That's Kelly. And she's most famous for her carrot cake here. This is a cream cheese frosting on her carrot cake. We've got a big serving of her nice crumble top coffee cake. People come from miles around to get our scones. These are true buttermilk recipe scones. That happens to be a chocolate chip almond with a nice glaze on it. And then in the green paper over there, we have a crumble top blueberry muffin as well.
Are these some family recipes?
These are some family recipes, yeah.
And you have coffee items, specialty coffee items.
We do have
as well.
specialty coffee items. My son Benjamin is the roast master, so we buy and roast our own beans here. So he's our trainer, roast master, and he can fix you just about anything that you want. We have some really skilled baristas here.
You guys have a unique feature. Not many coffee shops can say. You have this regular fish boil that I wanted to talk about.
Yep, I grew up in that kind of a culture. I'm kind of from the northern part of the state, and so experienced a lot of true Door County fish boils growing up. Always wanted to do it. People around here talk about it all the time, like, we've got to go all the way to Door County or something like that to get this Great Lakes style or Door County style fish boil. Right. So last year we began with an objective that that's what we were going to do and introduce a sustainable every Friday night program throughout this summer. Our fish come fresh overnight on ice from Bayfield, so they're fresh caught Lake Superior, chunked whitefish the way it's supposed to be. We do our fish boils outside, and then once people are served, they either come in here, they sit outside and linger on the lawn at tables, or they go right out onto the deck and soundstage.
And what do you serve with your fish?
So we'll serve about between 3/4 of a pound and a pound of fresh whitefish, a couple of red-skinned boiler potatoes, a sweet boiler onion with that, our own homemade coleslaw, kind of a marbled rye rustic bread as well, nice little 2-ounce ladle of drawn butter over everything. And then we have a nice dessert that comes at the end. It's an ice cream with a cherry chocolate chip cookie as well.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah.
Thank you so much for inviting us in today.
Thank you very much.
And you can read more about Andy's column in this month's edition of Madison magazines on newsstands now. Looking for something to do this weekend? Well, we've got you covered. From one last hurrah for water lovers up in the Dells to a new jazz club filling a void in Madison's music scene. We check out what's happening in and around Madison in our Weekend 608 coming up.
Good morning. Temperatures are in the mid-50s as of now. We'll see them staying on the cool side through most of the morning. Eventually, we will top things out into the upper 60s. Now, we are not worried about rainfall, though there will be some cloud cover. Most of the rainfall will be staying to our south, but of course, today is the big Badger game going on against New Mexico. I'll have your full Badger game forecast coming up in Maine weather here in a few minutes.
All right, well, it's the weekend in the 608.
And here's a look of some of the events happening right now.
Business on Willie Street have a new neighbor. Today is the grand opening of Cafe Coda at its new location across the street from the Willie Street Co-op and in a space left vacant by the Paint Bar. Cafe Coda is envisioned by local jazz musician, jazz club owner, and in addition, exciting to the local music scene, the cafe opens at noon.
There's a new exhibit at the Overture Center coming up this weekend. 10 regional photographers contributed to the new collection featured at the James Watrous Gallery. They come from Milwaukee, Chicago, St. Louis, Dayton, and Iowa City, among other places, and in varying ways depict the life and landscape of the Midwest. Several of the photographers were on hand for last night's grand opening. The new Midwest Photography exhibit is on display through the end of October.
One of the biggest athletic events of the fall is happening this Sunday. While nearly 2,900 people compete in the Ironman Wisconsin Triathlon every year, an estimated 30,000 spectators line the course to cheer them on. That's the main reason Madison won Best Host City honors from participants last year. But those wishing to watch the race should keep in mind that recent flooding downtown has left some road closures, so access to the course could be tricky. Race organizers have had to make adjustments. The flooding of trails on the course has required rerouting of the first 3 miles and last 3 miles of the 112-mile bike portion of the race. The swim course on Lake Mendota remains unchanged, but officials have worked tirelessly to remove debris and improve water quality.
And if you haven't made it up to the Wisconsin Dells for a little outdoor water park fun yet this summer, you have one more weekend to get it done. Noah's Ark normally ends its season after Labor Day, but this year the water park is turning the hose back on for one more weekend. September 8th and 9th, this is for an Oktoberfest themed party called Arktoberfest. Plenty of fun for parents will be there as well. There'll be 12 different local beers that will be featured, as well as German themed food and an 18-piece brass band.
And as always, you can pick up a copy of this month's Madison magazine for the best in and around the Madison area. Well, the relentless wet weather is behind us and dry weekends are ahead in Madison. Perfect for people hoping to go to the farmers market. You're looking live over the Capitol this Saturday morning. Chris is in next with your full First Alert forecast. And look who's 3. This is little Charlotte. What a sweetheart.
Good Saturday to all of you. We are starting out with temperatures that are about where they should be for this time of the year. But oddly enough, when it comes to that afternoon high, we're forecasting 69. The normal high is 75. So we're in one of those cooler stretches as we begin to transition into fall. 55 degrees outside right now. Clear skies showing up at the airport. Check out the dew point at 40, or at 50 rather. Some folks do have those dew points that are in the upper 40s. Now we'll see some cloud cover across the southern tier of the state going into the afternoon. That's with the rain that is passing by just to our south. We will not be worried about this very heavy rain that will be filling in over the Ohio Valley as we go throughout the day. That'll take a lot of the rain showers and cloud cover well south of us. It's high pressure. It's going to keep us sunny, but that's also going to keep cooler conditions for us here in Madison, especially as we go through tomorrow morning as well. Now, eventually some of that cooler air will retreat, but we'll be staying comfortable for this time of the year. So let's go ahead and go hour by hour through the rest of the day. We'll see 66 degrees as we get you towards noontime, and then towards the afternoon with the peak heating of the day, we'll likely top out with those temperatures right around 69 degrees. Some folks will see 70 degrees showing out. Tomorrow morning, upper 40s, and it'll be the first time that we've seen upper 40s since May. So yeah, we're finally starting to transition those seasons once again. Now, if you're going to be headed out to the Badgers game against New Mexico, kickoff 65 degrees, 69 as we get you into the fifth quarter, but it's going to be a beautiful game. So if you're tailgating or you're worried about any rain or anything like that, no real needs to worry. It will ultimately be pretty spectacular. And while we enjoy that sunshine, we are tracking Hurricane Florence that could be a Category 4 as it begins to approach the East Coast. Everyone from about Savannah, Georgia, up through New York City is keeping a very close eye on what could happen with Florence. And here's the thing, we could see her rapidly intensify once again. She did it once, she might do it again, but from 1980 all the way through 2017, this is a trend that we have seen happening more and more frequently. So that is, of course, something that we will keep a very close eye on. 69 degrees for your high today. By tonight, we'll see a pretty cool low right around 49. Now then, as we go through the next 10 days, 70s do continue to take over. 77 as we get you towards Tuesday. By Wednesday, 80s do return to the forecast, and that's that little warm up that everyone seems to get right around the start of the school year. We'll be watching that when the next rain chances don't come until Tuesday of next week. Here is your pet walk. Emily holding Manny in Middleton. It's a perfect day to walk your pet and get outdoors if you are looking to do so.
And very appropriate ahead of the big Packer game tomorrow.
That's right.
Well, we've been asking you to share your morning with us. This is Trevor Jans's photo that he posted on Facebook while he was, looks like, kind of taking this outside of an airplane.
Yeah, that's the Dane County Airport there. That's a beautiful picture.
Very beautiful. Well, thanks for sharing with us, Trevor. What does your morning look like? Take a picture and post it to Channel 3000's Facebook page or Twitter using the hashtag MyNews3 this morning. We'll share our favorites right here on News 3 this morning. And there's still a full hour of News 3 ahead at 8 and tonight at 6 and 10. It's a weekend of cleaning up and drying out for people across Sauk County. The latest on their recovery efforts and how you can help. But first, finding healing by the water. Here in Wisconsin, we understand the joy and sense of calm that can come from a day spent out on the water. Next, the program introducing wounded veterans to that type of therapy when News 3 This Morning Saturday returns. Welcome back. A day spent out on the water is a day well spent for many here in Madison. And that's the sentiment now shared by wounded veterans.
Adam Clements has the story behind the project, Healing Waters.
There's just some kind of therapy about being on the water that just is really a unique psychological process.
That's the idea behind Project Healing Waters. Wounded veterans coming together to fly fish.
It's like when you take a walk in the woods, you know, and you just feel this calmness come over you. Or when you're sitting on the beach and listen to the water roll up on the waves, there's a serenity to it.
It's just an experience you don't normally get.
Skeeter Williams spent 11 months in the hospital after suffering a traumatic head injury in Vietnam. While he can't remember exactly how he was wounded, he says it still keeps him up at night.
It bothers me, and I go to VA for help on that and stuff too, and they say I'm probably lucky I don't remember.
For Skeeter, Project Healing Waters provides the perfect escape from the nightmare that still haunts him.
Not trying to be too traumatic, but it's kind of like life-saving. It's a time where you can kind of just go out and relax. You're with fellow veterans. You don't have to. There's an unspoken communication there that you just have, and the volunteers are unbelievable.
While fly fishing brings this group of veterans together, it's the camaraderie that keeps them coming back.
I enjoy the incredible instruction that we're getting, and I am by means not very proficient, but I find it very relaxing and very still, and I enjoy, you know, the company of all the guys that come and do the fly fishing, and also a few of the women too.
Therapeutic would be a good word for it. Yes, it's very therapeutic for me. Yeah, I look forward to it and I enjoy it, and yeah.
While the pain of suffering in battle may never go away, for these veterans, this therapy on the water goes a long way in their recovery.
It's just really a great group. I mean, they've helped me a lot.
In Owensville, Adam Clements, Local 12 News.
And it will be a beautiful day for everyone to get out in the water today.
Yeah, absolutely. The water, I agree, very therapeutic. So if you have the chance to get out of the water, enjoy the sunshine, we will have. It'll be a little bit breezy and cool. Temperatures will top out into the upper 60s today. We'll see winds out of the east and northeast at about 10 to 20 miles per hour. Now, tomorrow morning, we could start out in the upper 40s. Keely, if we do, it'll be the first time in a long time that we've done that, and a little hint of the seasons changing as we head towards fall, but we're going to see a little taste of summer as we go through the middle and end of the upcoming week. 80s return by Wednesday and last all the way through the end of the next 10-day forecast before we begin to cool things down after that.
Let's keep the 80s, not the 40s yet, okay?
Okay, all right, we'll see what
Thanks
we can
so
do.
much, Chris.
My pleasure.
Really does look quite beautiful compared to how it's been.
It'll be a very beautiful week and a nice change of pace.
Thanks for watching. We'll see you at 8.
Making plans that are weather dependent? Get an accurate 12-hour, even a 10-day forecast. Download the Channel 3000 First Alert Weather app and start planning.